I think the food and beverage industry is facing huge challenges post-COVID. All organizations face challenges, but there are some ones that I think are really fundamental and challenging that this industry has to face and try and solve for because of how important the food and beverage industry is to the global economy. And those challenges are related to pricing of the inputs, supply chain, and the availability of goods and services that they need to be able to create their products and distribute, manufacture them, labor availability and costs, and the competitive landscape and how that is shifting, and that shift is sort of tied to and associated with consumer behavior generally. How does business acumen help the food and beverage industry solve some of these challenges? One, it's really important. These are difficult challenges. It's hard for an executive team to solve every challenge of a business by themselves. They really need every leader inside of their companies pulling on the levers that affect profitability in every choice, every decision, every behavior, every day, especially around the costs that they can control, when some of it feels really wildly out of their control, like commodity pricing and labor availability and labor costs and supply chain disruption. The way we see our food and beverage partners and customers sort of dealing with those challenges is focusing on the things they can control, inviting all the leaders inside of those organizations to be connected to the things they can control, and contributing in small ways and big ways as they sort of work through the challenge. Most of them, the way they're dealing with the challenges that we're talking about, whether that's commodity pricing, the inputs, labor costs, supply chain and availability of the goods the resources they need to make their goods, is price. They've taken a lot of price action in the marketplace, and to the extent that there is an elasticity to every price action you take on every good that you sell, but they are going to test the elasticity, right? We just keep taking price action until the market behaves in such a way that it doesn't make sense for those organizations to take those price actions anymore. So they will test the elasticity in the market of every one of their SKUs and products as a way to see what they're able to do. That does create challenges, right? That creates, if their products are inputs to other products, all of a sudden you have this compounding inflation challenge as everyone takes price action to compensate for their inputs going up. At the end of the day, everything is more expensive. The other thing that I think is really important for this industry to think about is the way they get access to distribute and sell their products in the marketplace. So most of the time, a food and beverage company sells its products through like a food service on-premise restaurant business or some sort of a retail organization of all kinds, whether it's a big box, it's a grocery store, it's a convenience store, or it's a drugstore or something like that. They sell their products through all of these channels is to be really good partners with their customers through that process, right? Their products create a ton of value for consumers, and they don't want their actions to negatively impact consumers or consumer demand in a way that hurts their ability to grow in the future. So even though food and beverage companies have these challenges, they have fared fairly well thus far as they've pulled on price levers and cost-cutting levers to help them through that. The other lever they're pulling on is sort of that access, how they get access to market. More e-commerce, more omni-channel, more selling their products directly to consumers to help them manage through some of the challenges that their typical supply chain and distribution models might face or experience at any given time. I think business acumen can help organizations try to solve some of these challenges. As you build understanding around the things that you can control, and then encouraging leaders to pull on the levers they can control to help you solve some of the broader challenges that you face. For me, the answer is always engaging the employees to help solve the challenges. They can't control every challenge, they can't solve every challenge, but an awareness of the challenges and the implications to the business help leaders make good choices that will have positive financial outcomes. It might not solve the specific challenge, but it might offset it in some small way. And I think that's a worthy goal.